No, it's just another episode. Get your popcorn ready. Hold the trigger finger steady. We go. Handle our business. Handle our business. Handle our business. Get the fuck up out your feelings. Handle our business. Handle our business. Handle our business. Get the fuck up out your feelings. Just another episode. Get your popcorn ready. Let the chopper explode. Hold the trigger finger steady. You can fuck about it. Hate a nigga. Wish you well. Yo, what up? Make some noise for yourself, my youngest and my OGs. Welcome to the crib. Triple Beam is in the house, and I'm back with another episode. Remember, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, do your boy a favor, man. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm on YouTube, and welcome to the crib on youtube.com. Check your boy out, like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you will be alerted anytime that I go live or upload new sports content or whatever content that I might be on for the day. But it's Thursday, fellas. We're about to break into a new NFL week. So I'm finna break y'all off with this week 15 of the NFL news, man. First of all, I'm gonna jump into this Dak Prescott thing, man. You got Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones has been on his weekly radio show over in Dallas. And Jerry Jones on his weekly radio show in Dallas talked about Dak Prescott's contract situation with, he's signed, he's under the contract, right? He's signed through 2024. But this has come up in the news, so I'm going to talk about it. And the reason why it's coming up in the news is because of the play of Dak Prescott. He's playing so well right now. And so what you want to do as an owner, a GM, you want to be able to try to save money if you possibly can. But that's not going to be happening. You want to get a deal done, you need to get it done now. Because Dak Prescott is leading the league right now in the MVP race. He's the quarterback over the number one rated offense in the NFL. Now, if they mess around, if he wins that MVP, they make a playoff run, they win and go to the Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl, that raises the stakes for Jerry Jones. Dak Prescott can go to the table and he could be worth a lot more money. So if you want to do the extension, you might need to bring that. I mean, and I know you're in the middle of a playoff run. You might want to try to get a deal done now because it's where it's looking, man. Dak Prescott and the Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, they're balling right now. And we're going to get into what's at stake for the Cowboys in a few moments as they go on the road to face the Buffalo Bills on Sunday afternoon. So listen, up next, guy, we're going to make some noise for that. Make some noise. That's some motherfucking no. Just another episode. Get some noise for that. Make some noise. So what we got, guys, is we got a situation also where we're hearing talk out of New England. New England is 3-10, as an abysmal season so far for the New England Patriots. And we're having talks that Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft are looking to maybe part ways. And what's going on with that is, man, you got to think about it, man. That's a lot of years of domination that will be coming to an end after if Belichick, if something happens and they decide to part ways. That's a lot of. I mean, I remember the Patriots being relevant and dominating the league, a dynasty. Man, as far as I can, for a long time. And if Belichick leaves, so what? You got Tom Brady. Obviously, Belichick kind of the way the media and everybody puts it is he kind of forced Tom Brady to move on, and Tom Brady wound up going to Tampa Bay and won the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. But he was at the end of his career. Tom Brady was well into his 40s at that time and still playing the quarterback position at a pretty decent level. And I know it's a lot of animosity with Bill Belichick as far as the fans in New England, because he was ready to move on from Tom Brady at the time. But now you got to look at it like this right here. The time with the Patriots under Bill Belichick, I mean, it's the greatest run for a head coach of all time. And so now if he leaves New England, now the question is, would parting ways with Bill Belichick be a good move for the New England Patriots? And my answer to that question is an emphatic no. It's a no. It wouldn't be a good move because you got to look at the Patriots right now. They're 3-10. And when you think about the Patriots, there's no player there that you can even think about. When you think about the New England Patriots, the face of that franchise is Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, he's the face of that franchise. So now, if you part way with Bill Belichick, as opposed to what? Who are you going to bring in to replace somebody like a Bill Belichick? That's going to be impossible to do. It's going to be impossible. Bill Belichick, and you think about other franchises. You think about the Dolphins, and they got they got a coach that's flamboyant, or whatever the words you want to use. I don't want to use flamboyant pause, but they got a coach that's media friendly. He's in the public eye, and he's a recognizable head coach. You know what I'm saying? But when you think about the Dolphins, you don't think about their head coach. You think about Tyreek Hill, Tua Tagovailoa, you know what I'm saying, Jayden Waddle. You think about different players on that team that you can think about. But there's no one that you can think about when you talk about the New England Patriots. It's Bill Belichick. He's the face of that franchise right now as the head coach. So would that be a good move for the Patriots if they decided to part ways from Bill Belichick? I say that's a no. So we'll see what happens in the future with Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Now, so we got a lot of talk right now, and this thing, it goes week to week. Week to week, it changes from week to week. Right now, we're sitting here at week 15. And for the most part, I would think that most people have Dak Prescott number one as their pick for MVP at this point in the season right now. Brock Purdy ended the conversation last week. I put him in that conversation, by the way, because I think I was the first one to mention, like, ain't nobody talking about Brock Purdy. He's putting up decent numbers, in the 49ers is like one of the top teams in the league. Nobody mentioned Brock Purdy. Like, it's a lot of names that came up in the MVP talks. Finally, in week 14, Brock Purdy gets thrust into the conversation. Now, with Brock Purdy being thrust into the conversation, okay, with Brock Purdy being thrust into the conversation, you got Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy right now. Like I said, after this week, it could possibly change. Dallas got to go to Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? San Francisco going to Seattle, playing a desperate team that desperately needs a win. So we don't know how this thing is going to look after week 15. Lamar Jackson, he's been making his case for MVP. But the question is not about Lamar. It's about those two guys whose name been at the top of the list this week, which is Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy. Who do you have for MVP right now? Is it Dak or is it Purdy? And for me, based on everything that's going on, the complete total body of work, I would say it's Dak Prescott. He's been under immense pressure this year. From the beginning of the season, he started off kind of slow, been under immense pressure, but he's the quarterback of the number one offense in the NFL. Dallas Cowboys are the number one offense in the NFL. Now he has a few weapons, but he don't have the weapons that Brock Purdy has. You could probably say that if something happened to Brock Purdy and they had to go to the backup, which I'm not sure who their backup is, Sam Darnold is their backup right now, if I'm not mistaken. If they had to go to Sam Darnold, you could still, picture the 49ers being able to, still make some noise with the weapons that they had. Christian McCaffrey, he's been talked about as maybe possibly being in the MVP conversation. That his name has came up. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Debo Samuels, Ayuk, you know what I'm saying? Kittle. So Purdy has a lot of weapons at his disposal. And so for me, at this point in time, at this juncture, in week 15, I would have to say Dak Prescott will be my MVP. So the people been talking about this Draymond Green situation. I'm going to go to basketball just for a minute. Draymond Green and these antics that he's pulling off, man, it's absolutely. I don't know what to say about it. But, dude taking cheap shots on guys, like, for real, like, we finna fight, my nigga. We finna fight. You hit me like that, bro, it's going down. It's finna be a fight. Absolutely. But Draymond, he doing stuff and he doing it to certain guys. I think that he feels like it's not going to come back at him. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's making headlines by doing this every week. And now he's been suspended indefinitely, which I think, I don't know how long indefinitely is. I guess until they come up with some type of remedy. Like, he's suspended until they can figure out what to do about, someone who's probably being a repetitive guy that's doing things over and over and over, getting ejected from games. They probably trying to figure out a way that they're going to address that. 3-4 games is not enough, I don't think, for Draymond Green, man, just going like crazy, bro. Why are you doing it? Like, it's sad. You going out sad, bro. And like I said, you will really be going out sad because if you, like, bro, come on, man. I'm out here playing basketball. You gonna think you gonna hit me in the head like that, bro? And I don't retaliate? Oh, no. We both getting kicked out of that game, bro. Because this finna be a fight. But how long the suspension should be, I got the answer to that today because they suspended him indefinitely. I'm not sure. I think probably they'll revisit it and he'll probably be back after about a week or two. But Draymond got to stop that, bro. And I hadn't been to his podcast because I want to know what he got to say to really try to justify that nonsense. It's bullshit.
That's a motherfucking no. Just another episode.
In a recent discussion about NFL quarterbacks, Cam Newton made controversial comments regarding the label of game manager that he has assigned to certain quarterbacks in the NFL. So let's just listen to what Cam Newton had to say right here.
I was Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, and really Dak Prescott. These are game managers. They're not difference makers.
When you say game manager, I'm not asking you to go out and win the game. I'm just asking you not to lose.
Not to lose the game. Exactly. Listen, I don't give a damn what you do. You don't have to score every time. You just don't have to throw a pick every time either. If we're going to really call a spade, there's a difference between managers of the game and difference makers of a game.
That's a motherfucking no. Just another.
Cam Newton with some controversial statements right there. He said Jared Goff, Tua Tagovailoa, Brock Purdy, and then he threw Dak Prescott in there as quote unquote game managers. That's tough. Was Cam Newton's statement fair, or was it unfair for him to say that about those quarterbacks? Were they game managers or difference makers? Well, I'm gonna say this. He threw Dak in there, and I'm gonna address that elephant right now. Dak, he's leading the number one offense in the NFL. He's threw for over, I think, like 3,500 yards or something like that through 15 weeks. So I don't know how that's a game manager. Brock Purdy, the same thing. How is that a game manager when he's distributing the ball to different receivers throughout the course of a game? Ayuk, Debo, Christian McCaffrey, Kittle. You know, some of those are third and fourth receivers that come in and out of the game. Like, they're all getting touches. So I don't understand, how is this a game manager when you're doing that? And I'm watching Brock Purdy, and I have to give him the utmost respect because of the way he was thrust into that position. After the injuries to the starter and the backup, then he goes in there and he runs off and he wins like 8-9 straight games. It's almost unheard of. His draft position was dead last, the final pick of the draft. The final pick of the draft. Mr. Irrelevant. And I know it's hard for people to believe that this guy who come from Iowa State thrust into that position, and he's been able to maintain that, even coming back after the shoulder injury, the shoulder surgery that he had, and coming back and still being the same guy that he was when he won those 9 games straight after being thrust into that position. And I know it's hard to believe. It is. It was hard for me to believe. I thought it was a fluke. I thought that after teams had watched enough tape, I thought that after teams had, seen, his tendencies and what he was able to do, that they would take some of those things away and he would, be back to normal. But that's not the case. And I watched him. I watched Brock Purdy in the last couple of games, especially the game when he dismantled the Philadelphia Eagles, threw for like 300 and some yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, I don't know how that's game management. He dissected the defense and he exposed the Eagles defense. And I'm watching him orchestrate what's going on. He's throwing the ball with confidence. He's throwing the ball with anticipation. Before receivers are even coming out of their breaks, the ball is out. And listen, that's one of the keys. Like I said, man, I'm no NFL quarterback. I'm not. But I know this. I know the position a little bit. My son is a quarterback. Yes, he's a quarterback on the collegiate level. Right? It's JUCO, but it's collegiate nonetheless. And he's headed to one of your D1 top schools. He's headed there. So I know a little bit about the position. And anticipation is one key attribute that you must have. And in order to be an elite quarterback, you have to be elite at that part of the game. And Brock Purdy has that. He has that. So those two guys right there off the bat, I would say, no, they're not game managers. They are game changers. They're game changers. And I know Cam Newton, a little bit of haterade there going on, Cam Newton, hating on Brock Purdy a little bit because of the situation. And I know it's kind of unfair when you come into a situation and you just basically fall into a situation where you got running back, you got all these weapons around you, and it's almost like, okay, it's a ready-made team. But at the same time, we've seen guys in a position where they've had those, weapons around them, and they were not able to, elevate their level of play to complement the weapons that they had. But I know it helps. It helps. Not to say that, and I'm not trying to knock Brock Purdy, but it does help being in that position. Because when I look at somebody like maybe like a Bryce Young that's down in Carolina, who don't really have many weapons there in Carolina, if he was in San Francisco, would he be able to duplicate some of the things that Brock Purdy's doing, and vice versa? Brock Purdy, since he's an MVP, would he be able to go to Carolina and turn things around there in the first year with not many weapons? I don't think so. I don't think it's only a couple of quarterbacks who could trade places with Bryce Young right now and would have Carolina with at least one more win than they already have. One or two, maybe. And that's probably a guy maybe like Lamar Jackson or Pat Mahomes. Other than that, I don't think nobody else is capable of going there and pulling Carolina out of that situation with the roster as it is. I don't think so. But Cam Newton, was it fair or was it out of bounds? I'm going to say it's out of bounds for Brock and for Dak. The other two, it remains to be seen. Because I saw, when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa, I saw him not be able to finish a game when Tyreek went down. And he has other weapons. It's almost like if you don't got Tyreek, you don't know what to do. And that's a problem if you want to be considered a top quarterback in the league as far as MVP status. You have to be able to function if you don't have Tyreek Hill. That means if Tyreek was to get traded or something like that, then that means you go back down to a second tier type quarterback. So that's my thoughts on that. So I say it's unfair for Dak and for Brock Purdy for Cam to say that game manager. The jury is still out on Jared Goff and Tua Tagovailoa. Joe Flacco has been named a starter for the Browns for the remainder of the season. Let's take a look. Listen to Joe Flacco after the news was confirmed that he will be the starter for the rest of the season.
And he talked about to being a leader in the locker room. Here's what he had to say.
No, I think in your mind you gotta take it week to week anyway, and act like you're the guy and focus on being the guy. So really, nothing else changes. We still want to go out there and have a good week's worth of work, and that's really what it all comes down to.
Joe, so the Browns are their second.
Joe Flacco, the starter for the Cleveland Browns, man, and that's. Hey, listen, the Cleveland Browns has been balling right now. I done already talked about the Browns. But now the question is, with Joe Flacco coming in, and it hit right on time for the Browns to go out, and I don't know who their GM was or how they was able to figure out, okay, we could get Joe Flacco in here and we could still make some noise. I don't know, but that was a brilliant move to do that and to recognize that Joe Flacco still has some left in the tank. But my question is, will teams want to avoid the Browns in the playoffs? And I'm going to tell you right now, and I done told y'all from the beginning of the season, I told y'all this. The Browns be comfortable. Be comfortable betting the Browns at home. And they have proven me right. They are 5-6 at home this season. Only one loss, and that was to the Baltimore Ravens. So, again, I say, as they host the Chicago Bears, the Bears, my team, they had a rough season. They've been giving my boy Justin Fields so much hell, man, right now with the way the Bears. I mean, it's not his. I don't think it's his fault. They got to get some better coaches in there, man, and some more weapons. But the Browns are hosting the Bears on Sunday. The Browns is at home. And like I said before, be comfortable betting the Browns at home this season. And to answer the question, will teams want to avoid the Browns in the playoffs? Absolutely, they should want to avoid the Browns. If they're playing at home, they don't lose at home. Not this season. And I explained why in an earlier video. Why they are not going to lose at home. The Browns with Joe Flacco are for real, especially at home. And so they could be one of the teams that, could get one of the wild card teams that could actually go on a crazy run and wind up in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, be afraid. Be very afraid of the Browns. If you're going into that dog pound, you're going to the Browns on the road, be afraid. Be very afraid. And like I told you, be comfortable taking those 3.5 points for the Browns at home. Go put the money down. Don't say I ain't never gave you nothing. I just gave it to you. So, we talked about the Browns. I'm going to mention them once again because this question is about to be asked. Because there's 12 teams in the NFL that has never won a Super Bowl in the history of the league. And let me say something, guys, because I know it's getting to be that time, and people say that Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year, and you go off into the stores and you're shopping and you hear all the Christmas music. It make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside and all of that. Oh. But I'm going to tell you, this time of year, when it comes playoff time, NFL playoff time, it's the most wonderful time of the year. I'm telling you. There are 12 teams in the NFL that has never won a Super Bowl in the history of the league. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so next time I go live, next time I pop up, you'll know when I got some content coming out. 12 teams in the NFL that has never won a Super Bowl in the history of the league. So my question to you, my youngins and my OGs, will there be a first-time Super Bowl winner this year? Out of the 12 teams, you got the Texans, the Jaguars, the Lions, the Browns, Cardinals, Titans, Chargers, Panthers, Falcons, Bengals, Bills, Vikings. Those are the 12 teams that have never hoisted a Lombardi trophy in the history of the NFL. Now, this is a shocking one. I thought the Browns had won a Super Bowl before. Back, way back, Jim Brown days. The head coach Brown that with the team was named after. I thought they may have won a Super Bowl. Another shocker is the Falcons. I thought the Falcons had won a Super Bowl back when they was the Dirty Birds and all of that. I guess they came up short. Maybe they went there and came up short. But will there be a first-time Super Bowl winner this year? Out of those teams, I could say no, but I could give you a couple of teams that it'll be possible. Number one, first of all, any team that hasn't won one, you could just count them out right now. because you get the NFC. None of these teams are going to get by the Cowboys, the Eagles, or the 49ers. None of these teams right here. None of these NFC teams, the Panthers, you can X them out right now because they're not even going to make playoffs. They already eliminated. The Falcons, the Lions, Cardinals, they're not going to do it. They're not going to make it. You can X them off right now. Out of all the teams that I would give a puncher's chance to go in there and win a Super Bowl, it would be somebody from the AFC. The Bills maybe could sneak in there and go on a run late in the season. And the Cleveland Browns, because they got that home field. If you meet them in a divisional round and they got home field, they will advance. They will. So that'll be my only two teams on here that I would say could have an even possibility. That's the Browns and the Bills. But I will tell you right now, I'm going to tell you right now, if you bet futures, go get you some money and put it on the Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens, to win the Super Bowl. The Ravens will win this year's Super Bowl. Don't ask me how I know, just know that I know. The Ravens will win the Super Bowl. Book it. You can book it. Right now, if you bet the future on the Ravens right now, I would guess that the Ravens are probably plus 500 to win the Super Bowl right now. So you take your $100, you win your $500. Don't say I ain't never gave you nothing else, because I gave you that. The Ravens will be Super Bowl champion. Lamar Jackson will hoist the Lombardi. It's inevitable that they win it. Everything's looking good for them. Everything. Right now, they're number one in the AFC. Lamar Jackson is right now, they're talking about him third MVP voting right now. If the season ended today, I think he would finish third. But like I said, it changes from week to week. It just depends on what these guys do this week coming up in the individual matchups. So you can book it. Book Lamar, and you can book Lamar for the Super Bowl MVP if that's a futures bet. And you could book the Ravens to win this year's Super Bowl. You can book it. And the only team that will threaten Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in the AFC, and you can book this too, the only team that I think will threaten them, and I know y'all gonna think I'm crazy, but it would be the Cleveland Browns. And wouldn't that be a matchup? Joe Flacco in an AFC divisional round or championship game against his old team, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And remember, Joe Flacco is a former Super Bowl champion quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, and Cam Newton, if you want to talk about game managers, that's your game manager right there, Joe Flacco. That's a game manager. But he's doing what he's asked to do. And I mean, and they're not asking him to go out there and just win these games. They just want him to go out there and be a game manager. Let me give you another one, Cam Newton, by the way. Let me give you another example. But I got to go back in history so you can really see what the epitome of a game manager is. That's when you look at the 85 Bears, with Walter Payton, Refrigerator Perry, and Mike Singletary, and the late Dick Butkus, and Mike Ditka, and all those guys. when you look at the quarterback of that team, McMahon, that's your game manager right there. That's a game manager, by the way, Cam Newton. But yeah, book the Ravens to win this Super Bowl. All right, let's talk about the game of the week Sunday. Cowboys at the Bills, who are favorite at home minus 1.5. I think, no, I'm sorry. It's minus 2.5. So then they gave Bills 2.5 point favorites in this game. Head coach Mike McCarthy speaks about the Bills quarterback Josh Allen at press conference earlier this week. Let's see what Coach Mike McCarthy had to say about the Bills signal caller.
The Bills and the Cowboys. And
This is courtesy of the Card Show, by the way. This audio.
It reminds me of a young Favre, just the temperament and the ability to throw the ball to any quadrant in the field.
He says that Josh Allen reminds him of a young Brett Favre. I think he's praising, they asking these guys about the matchups and who they supposed to be, keying in on, who they supposed to be looking out for doing, this game. This is the game of the week. This is the game that everybody's going to be watching. Okay, this is the game that everybody's going to be tuned in to. The Cowboys. Cowboys, America's team. They have the, probably the biggest fan base in the world. They got Jerry Jones, one of the most biggest as far as owners, one of the more vocal. He do a weekly radio show out there in Dallas every week. He's constantly talking and promoting his team. So it's going to be a big game. And so the question is, in a big game, would you rather have Dak Prescott or Josh Allen in a big game? Now, I'm going to sit up here and I'm going to say, when you think about it, you got Dak Prescott, you got Josh Allen. They're similar quarterbacks as far as, what they're able to do. I think they both got pretty decent arms. You may give Josh Allen a slight edge. They're both, they do a good job at, they're both good at what they do. The only thing that I would give the edge to Josh Allen is probably his physicality as far as when he runs the football. He run the ball, he'll get kind of physical with you when running the football. So I would give Josh Allen the edge in that. But who would I want in a big game? And because of that, I probably would lean more towards Josh Allen. But when you look at what's the totality of this year with Dak being the quarterback of the number one offense in football right now, you want to kind of say, okay, well, you have to go with Dak Prescott in a big game. But listen, and and for me to make my pick, because I'm finna make a pick right now. And when I make this pick, but I said I would take Dak Prescott in the big game, but then I'm gonna pick, the Bills to win this game. And I'm gonna tell you why. It's simply a numbers game. When I look at the line and I look at everything that's going on, Buffalo is desperate for a win. These are playoff implications for Buffalo. These are implications for Dallas as well. You got implications. The implications for Dallas, let's start there. The implications for Dallas is, one, Dak Prescott, he has to put on a performance because he has to keep his name in the MVP race. If he goes out there and he loses to Buffalo and he doesn't play well, that takes him out, because this NFL MVP, it changes from week to week. So that's at stake for the Cowboys and for Dak Prescott. Number two, that number one seed in the NFC is at stake because if they lose, that leaves San Francisco right up there to pick up the pieces and to take their home field advantage and get the bye in the playoffs. On the other hand, conversely, you look at Buffalo Bills. They're desperate for a win. This is a must-win game for Buffalo. Similar to last week, it was a must-win for Buffalo last week. They came through, they pulled it out, they won the game. This also is a must-win for Buffalo. If they lose this game, their playoff chances are, dissipating. So it's a must-win. Now, Dallas on the road going to Buffalo. It's going to be cold in New York. It's going to be cold. Dallas used to play in an indoor stadium when they're at home. It's going to be cold. But that's not why I'm picking Buffalo. The reason why I'm picking Buffalo is simple. When you look at the line, Dallas should be favored in this game. Instead, you have Buffalo favored in this game. So that's telling me something. Somebody don't trust the Cowboys on the road this week, and I don't either. I'm going with Buffalo. Make some noise. And don't say I ain't never gave you nothing. That's the third gem I done gave you so far. That's the third one. Buffalo -2.5. Buffalo -2.5. Make some noise. Before I get into this, before I get into the rest of these picks that I got lined up, I got some college football news. The Texas Longhorns backup quarterback Malik Murphy enters the transfer portal, leaving Arch Manning as the backup quarterback for Quinn Ewers as number 3 Texas gear up to face Washington in the college football playoff. My youngest, my OGs, can you make sense of this decision? The only sense that I can make out of it is if you're doing it now, during the playoffs, you're hitting the portal, you're putting a lot of eyes on you because it's going to bring attention because you guys are in the portal. In the playoffs. But other than that, it makes no sense because you're the backup quarterback. You're the number 3 team in the country. Okay, you're playing Washington. Anything can happen. Something can happen in yours. Now you are thrust into that position and you get a chance to go in there and get a win in the playoffs and possibly play in a national championship game and possibly become a national champion. So with that, it's almost like, why would you do that now? And that's my thing. But it's all good for Arch. Arch, the true freshman out of Louisiana, high school, Newman High School in Louisiana. The true freshman, he gets the opportunity to be the backup for Quinn Ewers in this game. So you can make some noise for Arch Manning. Quick story about Arch. We're here, Neshoba County, Philadelphia, Mississippi. As you know, if you know anything about Neshoba County, it has this big fair every year in the summer, like right before the summer is over, right before kids start to go back to school. And me and my son, he's a quarterback here at the high school, Philadelphia, and we're working out, going out, and we're about to go to our stadium and throw some balls around, do a little workout. So we get to the stadium and I see somebody on the field and they're out there, they throwing the ball, boom, boom. So we getting geared up. My boys getting geared up. And so I started to walk a little closer to see who it is. And it's Archie Manning sitting on the bench on the sideline. And I look on the field and it's Peyton Manning on the field orchestrating this whole thing. They got cones and stuff set up. They're doing drills, orchestrating this whole thing. And Arch is right there. He's working Arch, getting him ready for his season. And I think, and Cooper's out there, and Eli, I guess he's back in New York because he's still with the Giants at the time. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is Peyton Manning. And and so I'm telling my son, I'm like, man, that's Peyton Manning, that's Arch over there, because we've heard of Arch. Obviously, we keep our ears and we watching all the players that's coming up and coming. And so I go over to Peyton and I'm like, hey, introduces my son. I said, this is introduce myself. Then I introduce my son. I said, this my son, Marcus Beeman. He's the quarterback here at the school. You know what I'm saying? We was about to get a workout and I see y'all out here getting a workout. You mind we get it? He get in and get some reps with Arch. And he was like, oh yeah, it was cool. Yeah. So I'm sitting back and I'm talking to Archie, his dad, and they sitting back, man, and I'm watching Peyton just run these drills, man, and just giving these boys all this game. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. So at the end of everything, what I'm saying, we all got together, took a big picture and everything like that. And so, man, that was great. So, but I said that to say this. With Arch in Texas, and my son, he's at Butte, and he's coming. And so he's at junior college right now, but he's coming, and I just have the feeling like everything happened for a reason, and things like that. Just it's I don't know. I just have a feeling that those two are going to meet up on a big stage in the future, on some college level or professional level, and that moment is going to be relived once again. But I just wanted to say that. So now let's get into these picks. Let's get into these picks. I got a couple more for you guys, and then I'm going to get up out of here. Peep this. Okay, so we might as well start with tonight. Got the Raiders and the Chargers. They're both coming in 8-8. Chargers are going to visit. They're going to Las Vegas. We don't know if Coach Antonio is going to start the backup or is he going to go back with Jimmy Garoppolo? We don't know. I know that for the Chargers, we know that Justin Herbert is out for the season. So they're going to a new quarterback. This quarterback, his name is, what's this guy's name? They're going to the backup. I'm trying to get his name. Easton Stick. He's going to be starting for the Chargers today. The number one wide receiver is out. Keenan Allen is out. And so it makes for a tough go at who you're going to decide to pick in this game. I'm going to give you guys something. Vegas -3 in this game. Vegas is -3 in this game. Chargers just lost their quarterback, Justin Herbert. They got a guy named Easton Stick that's going to be thrust into the limelight today in Las Vegas. No Keenan Allen. And they only giving them 3 points. I actually think, based on all of the circumstances, that the Raiders should be a 6-point favorite in this game. It'll make it a little bit tough for people to pick the Raiders. But instead, they're only a 3-point favorite. So therefore, I'm going to go with the Chargers in this game. The Chargers will win a close game. I think it will be something like 17-14 Chargers. So I would buy the 0.5 point, and I would pick the Chargers at +2.5. That's my pick. I already gave you guys the Browns. I'm thinking Lions, Broncos. I'm thinking Broncos will lose this one. I'm thinking the Lions will beat them pretty good. I'm thinking 33-21 Lions over the Broncos. And I'm gonna give you one more, and then I'm gonna get out of there. Let's see. Okay, this will be a good one. Sunday night. I'm gonna give you the Ravens Jaguars. Sunday night, Jaguars desperation. You got the Ravens at 3.5. I think the Ravens should be at least a 5.5. I'm going to get you the Jaguars plus 3.5 at home. Those are my 3 picks for you guys. Hey, keep the game, man. Like and subscribe. I want you to share it too, but subscribe definitely. So when I come back on, you'll get a notification, let you know that I'm on live. But that's my picks, man. That's the show. Triple Beam. Welcome to the crib.
That's a motherfucking no. Just another episode. Get your popcorn ready. We let the chopper explode. Hold the trigger finger steady. We go. Handle our business. Handle our business. Get the fuck up out your business. Handle our business. Handle our business. Get the fuck up out your business. Just another episode. Get your popcorn ready. We let the chopper explode. Hold the trigger finger steady. You give a fuck about a hater, nigga. Wish you well. The chopper in my lap, it ain't for sure.